So, guys, people are always asking me all the time, I don't got a lot of money. I want to get into this e commerce thing. What can I do? Is there options out there available for me? And, that's where the discussion of drop shipping comes in. Drop shipping is a supply chain management technique that is used by individuals who run websites that do not house physical product, but rather create a sale and then the item is shipped directly from the manufacturer, a wholesaler, a distributor, or even another retailer. This episode, we're going to talk a bit more about drop shipping, and we're going to talk about some of the advantages and disadvantages of it and go further in depth on what it is. Now that we got the definition for drop shipping out of the way, I'd like you to take just 1 second and do the biggest thing you can right now for your online store. And that is to subscribe to the Shipmate YouTube channel so that way you get all the updates and the new video content. So guys, with drop shipping, like I said, there's a lot of things that are great about drop shipping. And they're right there in the definition. Drop shipping, like I said, is when you have the store, you're doing the sales, you're directing them to your website, but you don't house any inventory. You don't have anything on hand. You don't need to store anything. That's all taken care of for you by, manufacturers, wholesalers, distributors. And, it really simplifies this e-commerce model down to the point where, you're basically a salesman. And, when you make a sale, you get the money, you pay the suppliers. So it's like earning commission. So I want you guys to think of drop shipping a lot like, being a salesman, being the marketing department, being the guy who's out there going and getting the sale, connecting the customer to the product. There's a lot of things with drop shipping that make it more complicated than that because, you are maintaining the store. You are maintaining the website. You are in a lot of times, building out content and, creating ads and branding and all those sorts of things. So, it's a little more involved than just sales. But, this is really where the distinction of what is drop shipping comes into place. So right now I have a lot of people who come out and they ask, hey, Shipmate, do you do drop shipping? And the answer is we don't do drop shipping in the literal term of drop shipping, but a lot of people are confused about this term. So I really wanted to get out there and, explain exactly what it is. Because, automated order fulfillment is not the same as drop shipping. Drop shipping is when the item is coming from another person. It's coming from, the factory, the wholesaler, the distributor, and going to the customer. When you're using automated fulfillment services, the order is actually coming from a warehouse like Shipmate on your behalf. So these are two different things. And, it's important to get the terminology straight so that way you don't confuse yourself or somebody else and, everybody understands the terminology which they are using. So what I wanted to talk about right now is a lot of the benefits of drop shipping because drop shipping, it works for some people. I've never been really good at it, but I know a lot of people who have succeeded with it. They've built models around this and it's created a side income stream for them that's pretty nice and doesn't really take a lot of effort. So one of the biggest things about drop shipping is cost. So people are really attracted to drop shipping because it's super easy to start. It's very low upfront costs. All you need to do is get a domain, hook that domain up to some sort of shopping cart, and boom, you put a product up there, you send the order to the supplier sends that to the customer, and you didn't really have to put out a lot of cost. You didn't have to go buy a facility, store inventory, hire a trucking company to bring that inventory from the port to your facility. Most of that day-to-day operations of the business is, not on your plate with drop shipping. So, it's really advantageous if you don't have a lot of money to get started to, look at some drop shipping models and see if maybe they're right for you. Another good advantage of drop shipping is that a lot of times you're using established products. So, the factories that are doing the drop shipping, especially if they're here in the United States, they're offering this product to numerous people and that it's working because, they're selling enough to stay in business. So you have a product now that has some level of a proven track record, and you might be able to get photos from them. You might be able to get, product details. And, a lot of the work can be done up front by the factory or the wholesaler. And this really makes drop shipping super simple. Another thing about drop shipping is, you don't need to be versed in, logistics and, website design and stuff like that. There's websites out there like Wix or like Shopify or like BigCommerce and things that can help you, if you don't have a lot of experience building websites, get a store up there, get it active relatively cheaply, relatively easily. And you don't have to be an expert in importing. You don't have to have all these specialties. All you have to do is be somebody who's dedicated to selling, has a sales strategy, and is a real go-getter. So my last positive about drop shipping that I think is a really big one is scalability. And because you don't have, physical real estate, you don't have inventory, you don't have all this stuff to worry about, you can just scale. So you can get out there, you can start your store off with one product, you can add a second one, a third one, a fourth one, a millionth one. It doesn't matter because you're not storing it. You're not dealing with it. All you're doing is forwarding along an order. So this becomes very scalable very quickly without hardly any money up front, like I said before. So that's the good things about drop shipping and, why it works for some people. Now, like everything else, there's always some drawbacks. And with drop shipping, I think there's basically three big ones that I find. The first is it's usually very low margin. So because you're doing less work, a lot of times the factory is getting a larger chunk of the overall profits made from the sale. So for example, you might be buying that item at 2 or 3 times the wholesale cost because the factory is now shipping it on your behalf. Where if you were housing that inventory and you were doing the shipping, you might have only paid $4 to have that item made, and then what it costs to ship it to you, and then what you pay to ship it to the customer. So you're getting a lot of these costs bundled in with the convenience of using a dropship service. So that's something to keep in mind, is that it can often lead to lower margins and tighter windows for you to work with those ad dollars. So the next big downfall I see with dropshipping is lack of control. Now, in business, I'm a bit of a control freak. I really like to have, control of everything. I like to know where my inventory is. I like to be able to touch my inventory. I like to be able to price my inventory. I like to be able to, pick my pictures, pick what angles I'm going on there, make decisions about design. With drop shipping, because you never touch the product, you never even see it. It's housed somewhere else. It's designed by somebody else. It's just over there off in the corner and you can't see it. You don't really have as much control. So, what you think you might be selling might not actually be what you are selling, and you can have to deal with the complaints that come with that. A lot of things are just out of your control because somebody else is doing not only the manufacturing, but they're doing the logistics, they're doing the photos, they're doing all these things. And like I said, you really give up a lot of control. I don't like that, but like I said, there's a lot of good things about drop shipping that make up for this, and some people are able to look past that. My third drawback is, liability. So you're the one out there putting your name out there. You're putting it up on your site. You're the seller. Your information's all out there. It's your customer service. And like I said before, you gave up that control. So a lot of times with drop shipping, items will arrive damaged. They won't arrive at all. Maybe the factory you're using closes overnight. I've read horror stories. But it's important to know that you were the one that made that promise to the customer that they would be receiving that good, and you were the one who received the payment. So it's really important to make sure that you understand what is your fault, what is your supplier's fault, what the platform you're using is going to place blame on you for, what it's going to place blame on your supplier for, because it's really important to understand what you are responsible for when you're doing drop shipping. I've read a few horror stories on the internet of people who have gotten involved in these drop shipping schemes. All of a sudden, a month later they find out nothing ever shipped and they owe all that money back because they sold it on some platform and that platform's demanding a refund. So it's really important to know where your liability is once you get involved in a drop shipping scheme. It's also important to know what all the details of your contract are with the person who's doing the drop shipping for you. So whether it's the factory, whether it's the wholesaler, you want to know what the terms are, and you want to fully make sure everybody understands what their responsibilities and expectations are before you get involved in any of these deals. So guys, I hope you learned something about drop shipping. Like I said, it's great. It's something that's scalable. It's something that's, easy to do with little money up front. But at the same time, it's something you want to be careful about because you're giving up a lot of control. You got a lot of liability out there, and your margins are pretty tight. So, like I said, you just really want to evaluate, the pros and cons of getting into drop shipping before you go ahead and do something like that. And, like I said, I know tons of people have succeeded at it. I know tons of people have gotten themselves in trouble with it. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to personal preference and how you design your business. So I wanted to leave some of this information out there, tell you guys a bit more about dropshipping. I hope you learned something. So guys, thank you so much for watching this episode. If you could please give us a like, a subscribe, a comment. We really appreciate that. Come back next week. We're always putting out new content, and we hope you'll join us.